So hello all, we are here to discuss the first race that we are going to have, which is the individual time trial. We have with us Mahesh, Iyer. We've got Sudarshan as well as Nikhil with us. And obviously, I think everyone knows all three guys. So prominent cyclists from Pune, and Mahesh was the fastest Masters अभी जो selections हुए उसमें, and obviously Sudarshan was the fastest guy at the selections right now for camp selections. So event details. Basically, we are going to organize the event on 2nd of October, which is a Sunday. The race will be starting at Somatne toll, and we'll be finishing at Lonavala toll, which is the distance is 30 kilometers in total. Just one way, we don't have a U-turn or anything in between. So we're starting at Somatne and finishing at Lonavala toll. Uske baad we've got various different categories this time. So this year what we've done is we are going to have a men's elite category, men's open amateur category. Then we have a women's open category, we have a MTB hybrid category, we have boys and girls under 18 categories, and we have a time trial bike categories. So we've got a huge array of categories. Yeah, which is
keep everyone happy.
Yeah, I hope everyone will be happy. So I just got a call from Astad yesterday, I guess,
Okay.
and he was asking if we can have a masters category as well. I mean, we are good to have a masters category. Because he was saying, that it all comes down to the numbers of people participating in that category. So if we have a good amount of masters, over 40 guys participating in this ITT, we would definitely love to have a separate category from the next event. That would be really good.
So we're going to have a separate category just for TD bikes.
Yes.
But we're going to allow aero bars or clip-ons on the regular
On the
TD
road
bikes.
bikes, yes.
Okay. Cool.
And I have received many questions about Nikhil's and Sarosh's bikes. So they've modified their handles and so that particular cockpits, yes. So that particular bike would go under a TT bike category.
We are okay with racing in any category that you put us in. We just want to race.
No, yeah, and apart from that, again the route distance is 30 kilometers, which is quite good, I guess. 30 kilometer ITT is pretty challenging. What do you guys think of the?
I think 30 kind of hits a sweet spot, so to speak. It's not too short, it's not too long, somewhere in between.
Right.
So you can really sort of attack it in that sense, and at the end of it, you can still feel that you've done a good sort of.
And for reference, this year's World Champs ITT was 35 kilometers.
Yes.
We are there.
You're almost there. So I have received a couple of questions about the events that we are going to organize and the categories for the events. So Anil Kumar Guru 1998 has asked the question that is it compulsory to have a professional cycle as well as a jersey? So it's definitely not compulsory to have a professional cycle or a jersey. If you have any sort of bike, we are open for it. It's just that we love to race, we love to organize races, and we would love to have all the guys who are into cycling, irrespective of their type of cycle, we'd love to have them at the event.
Right, and the idea is, you don't have to be, intimidated, right?
Right.
It doesn't matter what your background is, what
That's
equipment you have.
That's right.
Just turn up and give it a good shot, and just enjoy the atmosphere, energy.
That's perfect.
You got to start somewhere. We all didn't start with high-end racing bikes, right? We all started with some basic bikes only, like an MTB or something like that. So just don't be it's very easy to sort of look around and see the equipment and how am I going to race with that? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what your equipment is or what your fitness level is. If you have an interest, just show up and ride and enjoy. That's how you get started.
That's
Spirit is important. Participation spirit is more important.
Exactly.
Another question was from Pawar _Anuja 148. What will be the activities or any upcoming events for beginners? Again, we have a lot of events coming up as well. So we have a series of 7 races, one race every month, and almost all of our riders are recreational riders. We have a lot of beginner riders as well. So it's it's good to just start at any particular race and then take it forward from there. And apart from that we have a different recreational. We cannot call it race, but an event, recreational events as well, which we will be putting up on our website as well as on our Facebook pages. So if you can follow those, that would be really good. Before getting into the questions, I'd really like to thank our partners for the series. So Meneke Absolute is our nutrition partner, and they'll be providing us and the winners of the events with some sort of products. And apart from that, we have an apparel partner, LXT, who are going to provide jerseys for all the winners. So we are going to have like various different categories as well. So we are going to have mountains classification, then we are going to have a sprint classification as well as a general classification.
Very tedious time. Very tour style.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's what we did back in 2018.
2018 and 19 was the season, and that was an amazing
Yeah,
season.
so
Yeah,
I think we
exactly.
should have the same.
Yes.
Makes sense.
So
Should have jerseys also for all.
we
of us.
have jerseys for the and points as well for the races. So let's move on to the route of the ITT. So it's going to be a 30 kilometer route starting from Somatne Fata, finishing at Somatne Fata toll and finishing at Lonavala toll.
Yeah, just to be clear, it's you cross the toll,
Cross the toll.
and that pretty much should be the start point.
That's correct. And at Lonavala toll is going to be before the toll.
So
obviously.
how much before? Just to give the viewers. sort of-
About 500 meters before the toll.
Okay.
It can be a bit like it can be 400 meters or
Yeah, plus or
500
minus a
but-
little bit, yeah.
plus or minus.
Yeah,
That
just
gives
because-
enough room for slowing down
That's right. Yes. Yes.
post race.
Yes. Yes. Definitely.
I had that at camp, so there was a car right at the
Oh wow.
park at the start finish line. I was like, I have to
Before
take-
getting into our route profile, how was your experience, both Sudarshan's as well as your experience at camps?
Yeah, I think overall it was fairly well managed. They got lucky with the venue. It's kind of the Samruddhi Mahamarg highway, right? It's a 6-lane highway, so concrete roads. So they managed to get permissions, and the setting was like really awesome. Like it was mountains, and yeah, devoid of traffic. So
Devoid of traffic. It's always good
that was
to-
pretty awesome.
Yeah.
They took advantage of the fact that it's still not operational, right? So I think overall the organization was pretty slick, and they managed to kind of there were so many riders and so many categories, right? So
Right.
I think we managed to wrap up by about 3 or 4 in the afternoon, which is a pretty. I think they were very sort of efficient about it,
Right.
and I think I enjoyed the experience overall.
It's always good to hear. What about
Yeah.
you, Sudarshan?
Yeah, racing at the trials is always the roads are all for the cyclists. And the roads are blocked. So so it's the same case for all the events that are I think organized by MCA, that is Maharashtra Cycling Organization. They get the permissions from the government, and it's not just the ITT, even in other races
Road races.
they get to control the traffic very well. So racing over there is great.
It's a good experience. That's always good to hear. Nikhil, you should have been there as well next time.
I wish.
Yes. So the route profile for this particular ITT that we have on 2nd of October. So there's a couple of things that I'd like to address first. So there are a couple of intersections before just after we start, and we need to be very careful over at those particular intersections. Apart from those intersections, we have a couple of kickers in between. The first kicker would be apna Somatne Fataka
Immediately after the start.
Yeah, but
Immediately
just
after
on the
the start.
intersection, I think it would be good to kind of identify kilometer.
Yes,
At what kilometer do
Right.
we have an intersection,
Yes,
so that
definitely.
you know, I think it would be good to have that information out.
of course.
Yeah,
So we'll be having that.
people can look out,
information
right?
out, Definitely.
You know, most of the guys would have a heading it,
Yes.
they would know,
Yes.
and they can then, people especially who've not done the route, right?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Apart from that, we have two kickers. So Somatne Fataka एक जो है वो है, and the other one would be Kamshet.
Right.
And after that,
So for
there
the
are
uninitiated, the kicker is basically like a little bit
Oh,
of a
yeah.
steep hill. I mean,
a steep hill, a short one, but
yeah,
yeah.
like a really steep one. Yeah.
and there are quite a few rumblers on
Right.
the road.
Yeah.
So what are all your experiences? So you've been to the route
Yeah.
multiple times, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So let's
So
start.
I think as a
Huh.
safety precaution, now that we are just talking about rumblers, I think most of the guys would have clip-ons.
Yes.
Right? I mean, as a safety precaution, definitely come off the clip-ons, and because some of those rumblers are like really thick, you would feel the vibration. So I mean, just to be on the safer side, at least I would sort of come off the aero bars and
Yeah.
clip-ons and just be on the drops or hooks,
Definitely.
whatever is comfortable.
Yeah.
Safety trumps everything else, you know. So
Definitely.
just make sure that you end up, or you're safe
Of course.
for yourself and for your fellow riders. That's how I would approach it. There are quite a few. I mean, I've done the route many times, obviously, but I think there were almost 7 to 8, if not more, that I can recollect the top of my head.
Right.
So just be careful about that. We'll try and again
Note down the number
call out
of
the
rumblers.
numbers
Yes,
and where they are.
Of
So
course.
that would help them anticipate and
Yes.
kind of negotiate it really well, or
Right.
negotiate it safely. So
So we'll definitely be
yeah.
doing that.
Yeah.
What's your experience, or rather, what's your thoughts on how do you think the route is?
I think Sudarshan should take
So-
it. He's
so yeah,
he's
so
the
yeah.
fastest on that.
So for me, I think it's kind of my daily route. So and I like the route because the traffic is relatively less once you go on the NH4, and it is very nice and rolling. Apart from the rumblers, the road surface is nice as
Yeah.
well. So
Yeah.
and it's a fast route. So
Yeah.
I like the route.
Yeah.
So you've been recently to the route? Have you been
No,
cycling
been a
the route?
while. I think the last time I was on the route was 2-3 months back.
I've been there today.
Today.
Okay. That's good. So road conditions are really good as of now.
Yeah, road conditions are good. Yeah.
That's good. What about you, Nikhil?
So from what I see, I generally split that route into two halves, 15 and 15. So most of it, so the hard work that I see is before Kamshet. After Kamshet, it isn't a cakewalk, but it's comparatively easier than the first half. So I'd suggest the participants to work harder in the first half and just maintain that effort in the second half.
That's Nikhil's pacing strategy.
That's
Positive state.
I said it.
So go hard in the
said it.
first
Go hard
15
in the first
kilometers.
time.
Yeah, but there is no return. Just so that you know
There's
that
no
exactly.
yeah,
There is
we
no
are
return.
all headed
Yes.
to Lonavala.
Just
So
one
what
way.
would be your strategy?
So my strategy will
Pacing
be
strategy.
Yeah.
So we're directly jumping
So-
into the execution part.
Before,
of it.
yeah, I mean that's a really good question, but let's leave it for
Yeah, sure,
a
leave
bit
it.
as of now,
Okay.
because the first thing that would come before pacing strategy, or rather any sort of strategy, would be the preparation phase for the race. And we've got a couple of questions on that particular aspect of racing, right?
Yeah.
So how do you actually prepare for the race? So Ganesh Devkar, he has a specific question for Nikhil, but obviously all three
Yeah.
of you can address the.
Let's start with Nikhil.
We'll start with Nikhil,
Okay.
and he asks, what's the top 3 checks that you do before you hop onto a bike before a race?
Okay. So I'll take this condition itself. Before a race, I'd specifically check the tire pressure, the brakes, and the fit of the bike. I'd recommend that do not make any changes to the bike at least 1 week or 2 days prior to the race. If you're using clip-ons, I'd suggest start using it at least 2 or 3 weeks prior to the race,
So by clip-ons you mean aero bars, right?
Yes, clip-ons means aero bars. So if you're planning to use aero bars, at least 2 to 3 weeks prior to the race, you must start using them so that you get used to them until race day. Any other changes in the fit of the bike, in the fit of the bike, must be done at least a month prior to the event so that you get used to it. These are the 3 things that I'd suggest to keep in mind before hopping onto the bike.
Sudarshan, what about you? What do you usually go check, before the race?
Yeah, so Nikhil has suggested very valid points, but in terms of looking at the timelines, obviously the bike fit and the clip-on would be hard to follow, but yes, you should get used to the equipment and make sure that your equipment is proper. Again the same things. Just to ensure that your bike is proper in terms of fitment of the headset and all the handlebars and the seat post are topped according to the recommendation. So you don't get any surprises during the race.
Exactly.
Has anything happened to you, like you've not taught your handle?
So if you don't torque your handle, so if you get into bumps, the possibility that your handle can rotate in the place.
Yes.
And even the seat post, the seat can move.
Any incidents?
If it's not torqued.
Any incidents that has happened to you?
Yeah, so it was very recent in the Pune Baramati race. So the race was obviously very very fast, and the race had lots of bumps, and like in the race we can't slow down on the bumps, and we have to bunny up on the speed breakers. So towards the end of the race, I ended up like moving the handlebars a bit. Even though they were quite properly torqued, but yeah, you need to be always ensure that the handlebars and the seat saddle are properly torqued.
Right.
Yes.
Mahesh, do you have anything to add to it?
Yeah, I think adaptation is the key. They've already covered the point. So now with just about 10 days left, it might be a bit late. You might still want to do at least a couple of, because the same thing happened to me going into the camps event over the weekend. I didn't have too much of TD adaptation.
Right.
I just slapped on the clip-ons maybe a week or 10 days prior to the event. Got a few recovery rides on the clip-ons and maybe one effort that I did. That's pretty much the only adaptation I got. So I didn't go super aggressive with it. Just enough to keep me comfortable for the duration that I was expecting to be on the bike. So 10 days, don't make too many radical changes. It's still probably not too late to put on clip-ons. Just make sure you get a few adaptation rides in. Don't go super aggressive is what I would recommend. I think the rest of the stuff they've covered. I mean, just make sure. I mean, personally, if it's a major race, then I because of lack of time in most cases, I would get my bike serviced from a professional, setup, a bike shop, and just make sure that you have a clean bike. The drivetrain is cleaned up. The tire pressures are good, and make sure your brakes are not drumming. Those are the basic things that you would sort of,
Clean bike is a fast bike.
Bike is a fast bike. I mean, I do it pretty much every night, but yeah, particularly for these races, I would definitely make sure that.
And coming back to the, not having as much time because you're working, right? So Prashant Tilke has a specific question for you.
Yeah.
So he's asked, like, please share your secret of consistent training. Considering your job and other.
Prashant's a good friend, so good to have that question from him. I mean, there's no secret. I mean, to be honest, I really don't know why I do it. I just end up doing it. I think it's become a habit. I think it's important to make it a habit. I mean, I think we've heard this cliche that consistency comes motivation, because motivation keeps coming and going, right? So it's more of it's become a habit because I've been doing it for many years. So. Almost kind of robotic to the point that it's become a bit robotic now. Right. But yeah, I just enjoy this being on the bike and kind of being fast and competitive. I mean, I don't have a straight answer for this. I mean, all I can say is that it's now become a habit, and hopefully it continues. That's all I can say. Yeah, it's challenging with work and stuff. It's certainly very challenging. Sometimes it's stressful. I mean, work can be stressful, and mental stress affects you more than anything. Affects your performance. And also your motivation, right? Because sometimes those issues stay in your head and can be a little problematic. But like I said, I think the key is to just get on with it. Just make it a habit. I've had days where I get up in the morning and I just don't feel like getting out of the bed and just going out. And it's especially if it's a hard interval workout. But more often than not, it's just about taking the first step. And invariably, I find that on those days I have an excellent workout.
Okay.
So it's like it's weird how things work out, but if you have, and like I said, I think what really helps is having a great coach, having a plan in front of you, so you know what is there ahead, right? So I think working with a great coach, having a plan well laid out, goes a long way in ensuring that you're consistent and you're accountable to somebody. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Sudarshan, do you want to add anything to that? Like your secret of being that consistent?
He's naturally
At that
fast,
particular-
he doesn't need any training. For both of them actually.
For both of them, of course.
I need to train to make sure that I'm not last.
About the consistency, I'm not sure. Like, I want to race and I want to do it very well. So that's and I love to race and I love to train. So that
Just the love of cycling and love of racing would make you be that consistent.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So let's move on to
Nikhil, I want to. What's
your
your?
Nikhil.
I've never been consistent in that sense. But whenever it comes to an important race, which I'd like to participate and finish on the podium, at least 3 or 4 weeks prior to the race, I try to be consistent, and I don't know how, but it just works out. And yeah, that's my secret.
Nikhil needs just one warm-up ride and he's on the podium.
He's a strong guy. Let's move on to the next one. So, so execution of the race. So the race strategy, right? There are various different types of strategies that you can use to perform really well at any particular race. So what in this particular ITT, considering we have 30 kilometers of individual time trialing and the route that we have, what would be your ideal strategy, to go into the race?
Okay. Asking me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think when it comes to a TT, pacing is super important.
Right.
Generally, you want to come from under, and what I mean by that is start below your threshold. Now, for the uninitiated, you can go by how do I put this? I mean, I'm so used to the cycling jargon over here. So basically, start easy, right? Like don't go super hard. It's true for like even marathons, right? There's a tendency to when you have a running marathon, there's a lot of energy and people just start off really hard and then they pay for it later. So it's the same when it comes to an individual time trial. So pacing is super important. Always come from under, making sure that you are below threshold basically. Okay. Now in this case, there is a kicker right at the beginning. It's a gradual uphill like a false flat, and then it leads into that kicker. So the tendency would be to kind of go anaerobic over there, but I would say avoid doing that. At least my approach to that is not go anaerobic, because then you pay for it. There's so much of lactic buildup that you'll pay for it in the next 30 seconds where you're recovering from that effort, right? So just make sure that you're going threshold a little above threshold, because you need to put in effort just to negotiate that little bit of a kicker. But once you've negotiated that, then it's like gradually get into a rhythm. Make sure you've got a healthy cadence. Now, cadence is a very interesting topic, but yeah, just make sure that you're not making it a muscular effort, right? Keep a very healthy cadence, anywhere between 85 to 90, 85 to 95. Sudarshan is a different case, but yeah, we'll come to that later. But yeah, anywhere between 85 to 95 for us mortals. And get into a rhythm, and ease into the effort. Like you will be surprised how much you have in the tank if you've come from under. So the thumb rule is
Right.
always come from under, and you build into it, get into a rhythm, have a healthy cadence, and you will be surprised how much you have left in the second half of the race. That would be my pacing strategy.
Right.
Sudarshan?
Yeah. So if we look at the top level, so the two major strategies are being consistent throughout, and the other strategy is negative split, so going bit easier and then go harder. But these things are very hard. Like for even personally, I don't get the pacing right. So you need a lot of experience and lot of doing workout at that threshold to get this right. But what I could say about this course is the first half, like so after the Somatne kicker and before the Kamshet climb, it's very rolling and it's still very fast. So knowing the route and knowing where to put the power and where to get just arrow and reduce the power and keep the speed is very important. Like Mr. Momentum is important over here. So keeping the momentum is very important. So best thing I guess would be just do the mock TT. So before you actually do the race, maybe try to do the same course before and at the same race pace even. And then you'll be able to pace it much better during the race day itself.
So your go-to strategy would be negative splits, right?
I would not. Yeah, it would be consistent, but definitely you can go a bit conservative in the middle section before till the Kamshet, because it is a fast course and if you are able to keep the momentum, you will be able to achieve higher speed with lesser effort. And after the Kamshet till Lonavala, it's pretty much flat, where you can put in all the power and get the consistent fast speed.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I think the key point over there is, as Sudarshan mentioned, between after the Somatne kicker and before the Kamshet, I think it's a good 15 kilometers, and it's a rolling terrain. So knowing where to put power and where to get arrow, because it's rolling, right? So you can carry a lot of speed and momentum into the second half.
So a lot of energy over there.
Yeah. So anyone who knows the route, so since this is fast route and it is rolling, so if you have done the route before and or if you have done the mock TT, that will be a very good advantage. So it will be very nice if you could do the route before to get the feel of it.
Definitely. And Nikhil, what would be your strategy?
Like I said previously, I divide the race into two halves. The first 15, as I said, is more of rolling. So most of the rolling part I will conserve, as in go hard on the ascents and conserve on the descents. Post the Kamshet climb, I'll put in more power, as in go hard on the flats. So this is almost similar to what Sudarshan said. Yes.
Right.
There's one more variable in all the winds. So what were the winds doing today?
Winds were winds are not much. So there were small headwind while going out, but not much.
So
Not
it's
strong
basically headwind now when you're going towards the mountain.
Yeah.
Okay. Which means that being arrow is more important.
Right.
Yes.
I guess most of the times that route has headwind while going out and tailwind while coming back.
And lastly, the nutrition aspect of any race. How do you actually tackle with that? Because there's a lot of different sort of nutritional strategies. If you just search on Google, there's a lot of different things that people do. What do you guys do?
Yeah. So in terms of nutrition, so I'll say what generally works, what usually should work for every race and should not be if you follow should not be different for an ITT.
Okay.
So consider having a good diet 2 days prior to the race. So So two days as in make sure that you are not eating too spicy food if you are not used to it, and make sure the food is good, has good amount of carbs, especially the last meal or the meals that you have day before. This is to ensure that you should not have any stomach upset, so you need to take care of your food. And on the race day itself, it is ideal to have breakfast 2 to 1 hour before you actually race, so that your body can actually process the food and you have the energy. During the race or actually before the race, you can have a gel or banana, which will give you the instant power. And since this is 30 kilometer, you may choose to have a banana or a gel in between the ride.
Right.
Yeah.
And is it like, do you normally have a gel before a 30-kilometer ride?
Yeah, I mean, now that we talked about nutrition, I mean, I would like to talk about two aspects. One is the warm up and the nutrition, the two important things going into the race, right? So, as far as warm up is concerned, it's super important to get a good warm up in, because you're going to TT is something where you directly get into it, right? So you need to make sure that your engine is like nicely warmed up. So a good, I think for a 30 kilometer TT, a good 20-minute warm up with a little bit of a build up. So you're basically doing 1 minute step ups, right? You start at zone 2, zone 3, zone 4, sort of work your way up. And the important thing over there is just make sure that your heart rate is getting up. Your heart rate needs to go to zone 4, zone 5, okay, for a very brief period of time. And make sure that you're not making it a muscular effort. You're basically using cadence to kind of get to that power and get that heart rate up. So do a bit of a warm up, bit of a zone 1 riding, and have the step up, a couple of sprints thrown into it, and a little bit of a cool down, 20-25 minutes. If you have a trainer, that's the best way to kind of get the warm up done. If you don't have one, use the roads basically. Try and just be sensible about it and safe, and try and get that warm up done. So number one, make sure that your warm up is good. Now, as far as nutrition, again, that's a very important aspect. I think they've covered what needs to be done prior. Make sure that you have a good breakfast at least 2 hours before, 2 to 3 hours before, so that your body can then sort of assimilate and digest all that. I would typically have a gel just before my warm up, and I would make sure that there's at least 15 minutes to 20 minutes gap. I would say 10 to 15 minutes, 15 minutes gap between the time I start and when I finish my warm up. And I would have a gel right before the warm up, and that should see me through a 30 kilometer effort. I think that's about it. Basically, have a good breakfast 2 to 3 hours before, like a really good sumptuous breakfast, I would say, and then just maybe one gel before you do your warm up, and then your body nice warm up with your glycogen levels up will ensure that your energies are good enough to kind of execute that TT pretty well.
Any predictions for the race? So I think we've mostly covered the topics that we have over here, but the one thing that we need to cover is predictions for the race. Who's going to win?
Prediction depends on who comes. If Matthew Vanderpool is coming.
Let's stick to Pune and Mumbai guys.
I just hope the Rumblers don't break me.
Is Sudarshan coming? It depends. If Sudarshan comes, he's going to be the winner. If not, then yeah.
I probably won't come. I have the national games the next week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, national games.
Yeah.
Right.
So then it's like open
for everyone, right? Good stuff. So, thanks a lot everyone for joining us over here, and
all the best. Have a good one. Have a good one, everyone.
Right.
Plus one.
Just be sensible about it. Be safe. That's
Be
all,
safe,
because
that's
the roads are not closed.
Yes.
So just be careful about that, and keep your eyes on the road, because being on the bus is very easy to kind of just look down and look at numbers. But make sure that you're looking ahead also.
I've had first-hand experience about the downsides of not looking ahead.
So, thanks everyone for joining us.
Thanks Siddharth. Thanks for having us.
Yep. Thanks.
Thanks, Siddharth.